Cara. Welcome back to my channel. So, this is going to be the Monster High book tag. Yay! And my iPad's a little up because it's on my bookshelf because I know where else to put it. So, you can only see like here. Okay, so, I'm really excited. I've been excited with this since I decided to do it. I created it. Then I was trying to wait until October, next October, because I did. I think I created it in November or October 31st, and it was too late to film it, or because I had to create it, find answers for it, then film it, and then upload it. So yeah, and then I wanted to wait till next October and do it on Halloween or just anytime in October. But I can't wait. I can't. I'm just excited for it, and I've been in a real big Monster High mood lately. And yeah, so I want to buy the movies and have a marathon since they picked them off all off Netflix, sadly. And I recently read both of the Monster High book series. Those will not be in any of my answers because they're both Monster High and they have pretty much the same characters, maybe different storylines, but still same characters. So yeah, I'm not gonna add those in this book, but I will quickly recommend them. If you're a fan of Monster High, you should definitely check them out. I've done book reviews for both of them. There's two different series by two different authors. Nothing is alike. But yeah, one is the Monster High Girlfriend series, 4 books, and the other one is just called Monster High. There's also 4 books. They're so good. Both of them are so good. Two amazing series. The Girlfriends one, I'm pretty sure is middle grade just by the writing and because the words a little bit bigger and there's pictures and stuff, like little drawings on the sides of pages and stuff. So pretty sure that's middle grade. I don't care. I love Monster High books, movies, everything. I'm a huge fan. So yeah, that's fun. And so yeah, I'm in my library, which I'm going to be building up soon, which I'm excited about. I'm going to be getting a different chair. This chair is kind of like a lawn chair that you see outside, and it can be uncomfortable to read in because I want to start reading in here. So I'm going to get a recliner because that'll be comfy. I want to get a desk so I can actually start writing in here as well. And then I'm going to be buying a whole bunch of bookshelves. I'm going to have one bookshelf dedicated to Erin Hunter's books, period. Okay, and before we get started on the Monster High book tag, I just got this in the mail. It's the second book in the Ember and the Ash series. I won this thing on Twitter. Someone posted about it was her birthday and she was going to gift 2 people, and I did it for fun, and I ended up winning. I honestly was not expecting to win. I never win things like that. So when I got the announcement that I won, I got so excited. And yeah, so that was fun. And I just got it, and then I was going to wait to open it here, but I ended up not being able to wait. So I went and opened it, fell in love with it because I just love that she got this book for me because this is like really, really high up on my TBR list. It's one of the books I want to get to soon, and I already own the first book, and this is the second book, so that makes it so much easier. After I finish all of Erin Hunter's books, because that is my main priority, this is my next book on my list that I want to read, and I'm just so happy that this is the book she got for me, so thank you very much. This made me so happy. When I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, I was mind blown, and I was just so excited. I'm still so excited that I have this book now. I've had the first book for a few years, and I still haven't read it. I know, I'm awful, but I am really excited for it, and after having it for so long not reading it, it's only made me more excited for it, so that's why it's extremely high on my TBR list, and I'm definitely going to get to it soon. But I think this is the old cover, because the covers I see for nowadays are nothing like this cover. So this is the cover I have for it. So I'm pretty sure this is the old cover. I don't think they sell this cover anymore, because every time I see it, I see this one that it shows in the back. So yeah. But I've never wanted to care about covers, but I just thought I should throw that out there. And yeah, so I'm just excited for that, so thank you. That made me happy. And is that the last thing I want to say before I get into it? I wanted, on my Monster High book recommendations, I told you I had a Monster High poster. I didn't show it because I was sitting on my bed and I was lazy, so I'm going to show it to you now. Because why not? Ta-da! So many of them. There's Blue Rule down here with the Monster High logo, and it has Alberta, Frankie, Abby, Claudine, Draculaura, Gulia, Cleo, and Spectra. So yay! I just thought I should show that to all of you. And if you pay attention to the background, you can see the school. Because like there's some pink and then there's some like I think it's a blackish grayish and it's kind of the outline of the school, Monster High. So yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna tell. So basically, I have 20 prompts. So most of them are characters. One of them is not a character, but it's the very first prompt, so you'll see. So basically, I just have a character and then something that goes with the character, and then I find a book or a book character that goes with that prompt. So yeah, that's fun. And I'll explain why I came up with that prompt. But if you've seen Monster High, it shouldn't be that, you know. I mean, if you probably are only even watching this if you see Monster High and love it like I do. So you probably understand the prompts. But okay. So number one is Monster High. Your favorite setting. So this I had to really think about because I was like, okay, there's so many amazing settings in books, you know. And I thought about Wonderland because I do have that one Ever After High book, and I've always been a fan of Wonderland. And that the Ever After High book, A Wonderland of a World, which I love. But the only problem is that even though the characters it's about are from Wonderland, they're not. The book isn't based in Wonderland, so I'm pretty sure that doesn't count. And then I thought about Oz because Oz is pretty cool too, and I do have Bewitched and Oz, which is in Oz, and I think Storymakers Trilogy is supposed to be in Oz. I'm not 100% sure, and I might be wrong, but for some reason I think it is. But it never says for sure, unlike Bewitched and Oz. But yeah, but I ended up going with. It's probably a generic answer, but I don't care. I ended up going with Harry Potter, Hogwarts, more specifically. And I'm sure there's like no, I don't really need to tell you why I chose that for the prompt because Monster High is the setting. But anyways, yeah. So I just think Hogwarts is really cool. You know, I love these staircases that move. I just love so many things, and it's not just Hogwarts, it's the entire Wizarding World, you know, like Diagon Alley and just everything, you know, Hogsmeade, it just all seems so cool. So the Wizarding World completely is my answer for this, because it's just so cool, and magic everywhere, and I would love to live in this amazing world, you know, it's developed so amazingly, and I just love it, and I just, yeah, it's amazing, and I'll be rereading this soon after the series I'm currently reading. I'm actually reading the spin-off of this, Secrets of the Immortal Nook of Smell, and I'm reading the spin-off first because technically I think it's based before Harry Potter. Yeah, it's based before Harry Potter, definitely. So that's one reason, but the other reason is because the first book is part of my friend's read off, so I kind of had to read it before reread Harry Potter. But oh well. But yeah, so I'll be rereading this soon, and I'll be in this world again, and I actually haven't read the books in quite some time. I've watched the movies a million and one times, and I've read the books plenty of times. I just haven't read them in a while, and I finally got them all again, because I have no idea what happened to my previous copies, or they might have been my parents' copies, I don't remember at this point. But I have all of them, and I'm so excited to reread it, because it's been too long since I've actually read it rather than watched it, and I love the books, I love the movies, I love the setting, the feel, and I just love everything about it. So yeah, that has to be my answer. Okay. Number 2 is Draculaura. And the characters I chose pretty much characters that I really enjoyed, even if they weren't on that much. So not all the characters may be main characters, like Frankie's not on here because I'm not actually a fan of Frankie. No offense for Frankie stands out there. I am not one of them. I do not like her. So she's not on this list. And even if I do like the character, they might not be on this list either because because there's so many Monster High characters, I can't add them all. Maybe one day I'll do a part 2 Monster High book tag and add other characters that I like that I didn't get to mention in this one. But we'll see. So Draculaura, the character with the biggest heart. So this was a little hard because I have so many book characters I can think of. Because if you've been on my channel for a while now, you know that every so often, whenever I talk about books like this, in tags or whatever, I talk about these cinnamon roll characters. This is what I call them. And I always mention these same ones. And there's a few others I don't mention as often that I do want to mention more when it comes to the cinnamon roll characters. But so there's a few of them. So I knew which characters I wanted it to be. I just didn't know which one I wanted to narrow it down to. So I went with one of the sweetest characters that I've ever read about. And well, they're all these options I thought of are characters that are really sweet characters. But I ended up narrowing it down to Warriors. This is his first book of the second arc, and the character I'm talking about is Leafpool. She is just such a sweetheart. She cares so much. She loves with her heart, her soul, her everything, and she cares about other people. And I mean, she even gave up her love of her life because it was a forbidden relationship. And I absolutely love them, and I'm so bitter to this day that they didn't end up together. But, um, but moving on. She's just so. She gave him up, and because they're the reason they're actually forbidden for two different reasons. One, because she's an apprentice to be a medicine cat. Medicine cats are not allowed to have mates or cubs, kittens of their own. I don't say cubs. No, this is not Secrets, this is Warriors. Okay. And the other reason is because they're from two different clans. So even if she didn't want to be a medicine cat in the future, they still couldn't be together because they're from two different clans. And the clans aren't allowed to mingle like that. So yeah, that sucks. But she gave them up because her clan needed her, and I'm pretty sure her, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I read these, her, the medicine cat who she was apprenticing with was like dying. They got sick and they ended up dying, and or something like that. Or there might have been a battle where she died. I don't remember. I just remember I'm pretty sure she died, and then that's when she would realize that she can't continue her relationship with Crowfeather no matter how much she loved him. Her clan needed her. They needed a medicine cat. And she's the only option at that point. She was the only one that knew what to do anymore because she was the only medicine cat apprentice, you know. So it was really sad, but yeah, but she's just so sweet. She put her clan's needs above her own, and it's just I love her. She's such a sweetheart. She cares so much. Okay. See. Number 3 is Twyla. I love Twyla. A book with a dark creature. I chose this because, well, I forgot to say why I chose Dragulores. Dragulores is because she has the biggest heart of any character on Monster High, which is stressed about in the movie Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love. But for Twilight, I chose this one because her dad's the boogeyman. And, yeah. So, and she kind of hides in shadows and stuff, so dark creature, you know. And I went with, where is it? It's somewhere around here. Here it is. Phantoms from the Effigies trilogy. The effigies have to fight these phantoms that attack the world, and later on, I want to say it's book 3, you find out that phantoms are just spirits, like, you know, just normal spirits whose souls got twisted and transformed into this evil thing. And yeah, but yeah, they're very hard to. They can be hard to defeat. That's why only effigies powers can do it. They get harder to defeat when they're being controlled by a human, Saul. And so yeah. Well, I think he's technically human. He's immortal. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, but I think he's human too. But anyways, yeah. So they're really dark creatures. They're evil. They don't really have any emotions. So they don't really have a conscience and they don't really care what they do. They just wreak havoc basically. And yeah, so when I made this problem of a dark creature, they're the first ones that came to my mind. Okay. Next is number 4 is Abby Abominable, a character who doesn't take any crap. So if you know Abby, she's awesome. I love Abby. She is daughter of the Abominable Snowman. She has snow and ice powers, and it's really cool. And she doesn't take, and she's very honest, brutally honest at times. You know, she doesn't really have a filter, and she doesn't take crap from anyone. If someone gets on her nerves, she will call them out immediately. and everyone else is just all is going behind the bushes, being like trying to be as nice as they can while saying it. Abby's like, no, okay, this is how it goes, and yeah, I love Abby. She's my third favorite character after Dracula and Twilight. So she's my mom's favorite character, and yeah, so who did I choose for her again? I forgot. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay. Yeah, it's the book. I can get it out. Allie from the Skinjacker trilogy. So I've talked about this book. I did reviews on it, and I got a little bit into Allie's personality. So if you've seen those book reviews, then you'll understand why I chose Allie, because um, she can be hot-headed. A lot of times she thinks before she acts, which gets her and Nick and Leaf all in trouble in the first book. But she she does what she believes in. She goes after what she believes in. She fights for what she believes in, which is something to respect out of her. Yes, she doesn't always think her decisions through, and she doesn't like to admit when she's wrong, but she doesn't like to apologize either. But she does have a good heart, and she does try her best, even when if she fails. She doesn't give up, and so yeah, and she doesn't take crap from anyone. If someone gets on her nerves, she will call them out. Even in the third book, when she was tied to the front of a train, and as they drove throughout town, well, not throughout the town, but throughout like the world, because they were traveling through. Yeah, they kept traveling, and she kept telling Milos exactly what she thought of him. She kept saying all this crap about all of them, and even though she was the victim, she was the one that was tied up, she was the one that was vulnerable, she didn't care. She said exactly how she felt, and she didn't care about the repercussions, because the only repercussions that could happen were to her. So it's not like there was any damage to people she cared about anyways. So yeah, she just basically said how she felt. She basically told them off constantly, and yeah, so okay, number 5 is Deuce Gorgon. I like Deuce. Um, a character who has a cool vibe about them. Now, I don't really think I need to explain why I chose this prompt for Deuce, because, you know, he has this whole cool thing going on about him, this cool persona, and yeah, we love Deuce. I chose, it's the, okay, Kato from Stormmaker's trilogy. At first, he definitely has that cool vibe about him. Well, he didn't just have a cool vibe about him. He had a jerk vibe too. He had like both vibes. Jerk vibe a little bit stronger, but he did become a lot better. He became my favorite character in the series, and but even after everything, he has this whole cool thing about himself. He's just, it's hard to explain. If you know Deuce, you understand. But yeah, so uh, when I thought of this, Kato was really the only character I could think of that I've read that has this cool vibe. That's, yeah. So so I had to go with Kato, and yeah, I love Kato, I love Deuce, and I think they could get along. Well, I don't think they would get along in like the first book, or no, the first half of the first book, because they would have issues, probably, because of how Kato behaved at the beginning. But then when he started going through his, when he started, you know, having an amazing character arc, character growth, I think him and Deuce could have been great friends if they were in the same universe. Number 6 is Cleo Denial, a character who's self-involved. Um, so I went Stormmaker's trilogy again, Dorothea. I do love Dorothea. I didn't like her at first, but she became my second favorite character right after Kato. And she is very self-involved, and even after all those years, she still had a little of that self-involvement. It didn't fully go away, which is something that I love, because a lot of books or movies, TV shows, or whatever might have had it go all the way down, have her become completely selfish, which isn't realistic. Yes, she wasn't as self-involved, and she was more selfless when it came with a lot of things, but she still Dorothea, you know, her character, even though she did go through this great character development, she was still the same person to the core, and she could be selfish, she could be self-involved, she did care about things like looks and shoes and dresses, and especially shoes. And she was obsessed with stuff like that, and that's not always bad. And so yeah, so Cleo, we all know Cleo, and that's one thing I love about Cleo too, because even though Cleo has a good heart, she does, and she cares so much about her boyfriend Deuce and her best friends Draculaura, Claudine, Frankie, Laguna, and Gulia, especially Gulia. They're like really close, and they all have this tight friendship, and Cleo cares so much about them, so much, and she would do anything to help them, you know. But she's still Cleo, you know, and can be selfish to just about anyone else. So if you're not in her tight knit little circle, then you don't matter. That might be a big exaggeration because she had other nice moments with other people, I'm pretty sure of. But yeah, they're few and far between. But Dorothea, she ends up caring so much about Kato and Rexy and Hydra. I haven't seen anyone. I think that was all, right? And Berta. I can't believe I almost forgot Berta. But yeah, so they're all just really close, and Dorothea cares so much, and but she's still selfish at times, and she's still self-involved, but she's also more selfless now, and she cares more, and yeah, so I just thought Dorothea was the obvious choice for this answer. Another two characters I think would make great friends if these two worlds were to combine. Well, I should do like some sort of book stuff. Okay, I couldn't get in there, man. It's kind of a tight squeeze. All right. But yeah, I think they could get along too. That'd be funny, you know. They could just go all on double dates. Cleo and Dorothea's best friends, Kato and Deuce's best friends, and they could just go on double dates. I think that would be really cute. And I want fan fiction. Crap! Why did I do this video? Number 7 is Gulia Yelps, a very underrated character. I love Gulia. I chose for this prompt is the smartest character. So there's several smart characters, you know, but I end up going with Udrak from Seekers. Duh. Udrak is really smart. He knows out of all when they're traveling, he knows which plants are poisonous, which plants you can't eat, which plants will make you sick. He knows which plants are good with which herbs to heal wounds or to make you feel better or something like that. And he also can figure out where the signs are pointing, because there's signs that's leading them on their journey. Togwell wasn't really a believer at first. Lusa she was easy to believe and stuff like that. And Udrak was a hardcore believer, and he was the one that knew how to tell what signs. And that's why when in the book 6, when he knew he was going to die, it's like I don't think he knew he was going to die. That might be an overstatement. I think he just knew something bad was going to happen. So he started teaching Lusa which plants are bad, which plants are good, which plants you can eat, which plants are good to heal your wounds, and mix with what other plants, and how to tell by the signs where they need to go next and stuff like that. So yeah, Udrak is just extremely intelligent. He would definitely be a Ravenclaw, no doubt. He'd be like the head boy of house, because he's just so smart, and he would definitely earn that title. And yeah, so there's really no doubt in my mind that he is perfect for this. You know, Gulia, I chose this prompt for Gulia because we all know that Gulia is the smartest school, being zombie or not. She's the smartest school in the school, and Udrak would definitely be on her level, no doubt in my mind. I really did wish it would have gone into his smarts a little bit more, you know? I just don't think they focused on it as much as they could have. Number 8 is Laguna Blue, a water-based book. So, for this, I went with Magic Below. This is the second book in the Bewitched and Oz duology, and I love it. It's so good. And yeah, so I need to read this soon. Okay, yeah, I forgot I need to reread this. But it's just so good and amazing and beautiful, and I love it. But as you can tell in this book, it is a water-based book. See, like this water, and Theory became a mermaid in the second book. They all these three friends had to travel, and they all had to travel different ways. Tabitha was we traveled by air with like a hot air balloon, something like that. Vashti on land, and then Theory on water. So they gave her something to make her a temporary mermaid, basically, and she traveled through water. So, and since it's in her point of view, a good portion of this book is water-based because she's in the water. So yeah. There should be no surprise why I chose this for Laguna. She is a sea creature after all. Number 9 is Claudine Wolf, a book where a character has to go through a major transformation. So I'm going to grab the second book for this series because the first book is in my purse in my bedroom, and I don't want to walk all the way over there just to grab it. So I'm grabbing the second book. And I chose Sophie and Josh Newman from The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel. I'm currently rereading this. That's why it's in my bedroom. The first book is at least. I'm hoping to finish the first and second book this weekend. I don't know if I will succeed because I also want to write lots of my own book. So why did I set myself out for such high standards this weekend? I never set myself out for a lazy weekend. Sometimes I end up getting it by accident, but still. One of these days I'm going to set out and be like, no, I'm not doing anything this weekend. It's my weekend. But reading and writing is fun for me, so I don't mind. Okay, so that rant was pointless. Let's move on. At the very beginning, strange things are starting to happen. There's this weird odor at both the coffee shop where Sophie works and across the street at the bookstore where Nicholas works. And they're twins. And then the bookstore gets attacked. Nicholas gets attacked by someone named Dr. John Dee. And Perenelle was at the coffee shop at the moment. And so that's Nicholas' wife. And then she raced over, and then Sophie raced over too because her brother was there, and all she cared about was making sure he was okay. So they raced over, and they were attacked by golems, which are men of clay, if you did not know. And so yeah, and then so all of a sudden their entire world, their entire views changed because they didn't believe in magic before. Now all of a sudden magic's real. They watched magic happen. They watched golems attack. They watched they saw so many things that they didn't know were real. Okay, and then they find out that they're actually the two of them are part of this prophecy, and there's like several twists in this that you do not see coming. I won't tell you because you should find out on your own. But yeah, so they end up having to go on this journey to go in hiding because John Dee had stolen this book, but Josh had ripped out a couple pages, which are key pages that John needs for what he's planning on doing. So Nicholas knew that he was going to come after them, and he won't leave any witnesses, so he'll kill Sophie and Josh. So they're trying to go in hiding, and Nicholas is explaining all this because Nicholas is immortal, so is Perenelle, so is Dr. John Dee. So yeah, so in like 1 hour, their entire world's changed. They're like 16, 17-year-old kids, and their entire world's changed. Now they're part of this war that they have no idea what's going on. Then they find out they're part of this prophecy, and then they find out they have magic that they have to unlock and train with to fight John Dee, and it's just a lot to take in for two 15, actually I don't think they're 17, I think they're more 15, 16-year-old kids, but still, that's a lot to take in, you know? So yeah, I consider this more than eligible for this prompt. And there should be no surprise why I chose this for Claudine, because she is a werewolf and has to go to the transformation through on the full moon. Okay, number 10 is Kiyomi. She was on Haunted. She was that one faceless ghost. I really liked her. A ghoul who is very in touch with her emotions, or a very shy ghoul, or it could be both if there's characters that fit both those descriptions. It could be either one. Because I chose this because Kiyomi is very shy, and she's also very in touch with her emotions because her emotions kind of show up on her face. She's pretty. It's kind of like a one big mood ring in a person or a monster or a ghost in this case. So yeah, so her emotions show on her face, so they always know what she's feeling basically. So yeah, and I went with. I already used this book once, but I'm going to use it again. Lake from the Effigies trilogy. Lake is. I've talked about Lake, aka Victoria. I think I usually call her Victoria, but they call her Lake a lot. I don't know why I call her Victoria, then if that's what they refer to her as Lake, but oh well. I just love Lake. She's just so sweet and so shy. She's definitely one of my cinnamon roll characters, which you should know by now if you've been on my channel for a while. And she's so Lake. She's very attached with her emotions, and she's not ashamed of it. She's very shy at times, and she's such a sweetheart, and she's so good and pure and kind of hard, and I'm in love with her. And she's one of my top fictional girlfriends, no doubt, because I love her. And yeah, I would definitely date her if I was in her world, she was in mine, because yeah, uh, she's just amazing, and I love her, and I want to protect her from this whole terrible world. I mean, she's 17 and she was thrown into this war. Because she's the heir effigy. I mean, the same thing as Maya. She's 15, I think. I think she's 15, and she was thrown into this war. And then, but Belle and Che ran I think are adults. I think they're like 18, 19, around that. So yeah. But anyway, it's still a lot to take in, even if you are 18 or 19. But still, yeah. I love Lake, and she's amazing. She's definitely the perfect person for this prompt. I would love to see a fanfiction between Lake and Kiyomi. I mean, I would love that. Okay. Let's see. Next is number 11, Bonita Femur. Bonita is a hybrid. She was a hybrid of a moth and a skeleton, right? Skeleton moth, I think that's what it was. I think so. I might be wrong though. Why would I think it's skeleton moth? I think that's right. I don't know. It's been a while, huh? But the prompt is a character who is proud of who they are. Because Bonita, I chose this because Bonita is a hybrid. She's a hybrid, and she's very proud of that because like her and her hybrid friends have switched from school to school because they always end up getting bullied because no one can handle hybrids. You know, they're freaks, as some people call them, and this and that. So yeah. And this, I bring up this book, and I mean, this is the first book in the Bewitching Knowledge duology, and Ziri, Green Apple, and her friends all have magic, but magic has been outlawed, so they have to go in hiding. And because they have to go in hiding, which sucks, well, they don't go in hiding. They like have to hide when they use their magic. They go somewhere secretive, but then they get caught, and then they have to go on this journey to find their friend who was kidnapped, and have to find a way to make magic legal again. And Ziri, I love Ziri so much, but she's not perfect, and sometimes she can get on my nerves because it seems like she's always boy crazed. At first, she was obsessed with, well, she wasn't obsessed, but she had a crush on Ned, and then it's like her entire world revolved around Ned at first, before this whole journey came out and her true color shined, and you find out she's more than just boy craze. But then she does get, even after that's happened, she ends up getting a stronger crush on Ned's little brother Brink because she's hanging out around with him a lot more. And Brink is also one of my cinnamon characters. I love him so much. But yeah, but despite her flaws, Ziri is extremely, how should I put it, like, she knows what she wants, and she's not ashamed of who she is, basically. She has powers, but she refuses to hide them, and after they get caught, she doesn't want to go backwards. She wants to go forward. Like at the end when they say that they have to go in this fountain and basically lose their powers, he was like, no, my powers are a part of me. It makes me who I am, and I refuse to get rid of them. And I love that about her. You know, despite her flaws, she is extremely passionate and she cares so much about her magic, about her friends, about saving them, about saving the world and all of Oz, and changing the laws back to where magic is legal again because her magic is a part of her. She refuses. She just refuses to, you know, let them go because they are a part of her. You know, the biggest part of her. And that's one thing I love about Ziri, how passionate she is about her magic, about how she refuses to let it go, about how she refuses to give up without a fight, how determined she is, and how strong-willed. And I just love that about her. She's definitely an amazing protagonist. Let's see. Next is 12, Rochelle Goyle, a determined character. So I chose this for Rochelle because she's very determined and straightforward. She goes after what she wants. And yeah, so she was very determined when you first meet her in Friday Night Fridays. That's what the movie is called. And she pretended to be a boy to be part of their a school in their Roller Maze team because boys were the only one allowed to do that, and she didn't agree with that. So, and then at the end, when the ghouls had formed a school in their Roller Maze of pure female, since the men in that team were injured and couldn't play, Rochelle ended up transferring to be a part of that team. And yeah, so from the minute you meet her, you see how determined she truly is. I chose Kalik from Seekers because everyone knows my love for this bear, this woman. She's amazing. I love Kalik more than anything. I love Seekers more than anything. But that's besides the point. Kalik is very determined. I mean, from the very beginning, she was determined. Once she loses her mom and then her brother, and then she watches her mom die before her eyes, trying to protect her and her brother. Then her and her brother get lost from each other, and you find out in book 3 that Takik actually thought Kalik was dead like their mother, because he didn't actually see what happened. He was a little bit further away, and so Kalik ends up going on this journey, leaving the ice, the only place she's ever known, completely alone. She doesn't have anyone. Her mother's dead, her brother's lost, and she's alone. So she ends up leaving the ice, her home, her sanctuary, her safety place, her everything, to find her brother, because her brother's the only person she has in this world. So she ends up going on this journey in this strange world that she has no idea about anything. She doesn't know about berries or grass or any of it, and she's in a world without ice or snow or seals, and it's just really hard for her, you know. But she keeps on going. She keeps on moving forward, and without looking back. And she keeps on going, and she gets into many, many obstacles, until she finally finds her brother, and finds out her brother isn't exactly the person she remembered because he changed. He became harder to survive. But that's one thing I love about Kalik. She had to survive a lot too, alone, just like Takik did. But unlike Takik, she didn't change who she was down to the core. She's still the same kind-hearted, strong-willed, amazing person, or bear in this case, that she always was. But this journey did help outshine those qualities a little bit more. Because at first she just seems like a shy, normal bear, but then when she goes on this journey, you kind of see her full front. You see everything about her, and it's just amazing to watch this character develop like that, and to see this young, shy polar bear cub, become this strong-willed, kind-hearted, determined, amazing adult bear. And it's just amazing to watch or read, and I love it, and I might be a little biased because I'm in love with this series and this character, but oh well, she's perfect for this prompt. Okay, next is Claude Wolf. Your favorite forbidden relationship. So, I chose this because Claude and Draculaura do kind of have somewhat of a forbidden relationship. It was only ever shown in one movie, which was the first movie. Well, not actually, this was technically the second movie. I don't actually like the first movie. New Girl at School, don't like that movie. But I do love Cryon, which is the second movie. And, vampires and werewolves end up coming to Monster High, and they don't get along, and both the werewolves and the Draculas. What? Okay. I can't believe I just did that. Bye. Wow. Okay. Oh, that's fun. Draculas. I feel so stupid. Okay, moving on. The werewolves and the vampires, don't get along, and they both try to get Draculaura and Claude to separate from each other, to break up, because they don't think a vampire. Because it's not just Draculaura and Claude either. It's also Draculaura and Claudine, because they don't like the fact that a vampire and a werewolf are best friends. You know, the best of friends, and they don't like it. They don't like Draculaura and Claude dating because they're a vampire and a werewolf. Draculaura and Claudine, vampire and werewolf. They just don't like it. So that's the only movie that really shows the forbidden part of the relationship. It's not the only one that they have problems though. They also end up having issues in Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love, but that's a different story for another time. So yeah, and I actually only know one forbidden relationship in books. I think I know a few on TV, but I only really know one on books, and so I had to go with it. But even if I do find more, I don't think they can top Leafpool and Crowfeather from Warriors. This is actually for the first arc, and that couple wasn't shown until the second arc, but oh well, it's the first one I got. But Leafpool and Crowfeather, I mentioned them a little bit earlier when I talked about Leafpool being the kindest character with the biggest heart or whatever, and the two of them were just so cute together. They really cared about each other, and they loved each other, and they snuck off quite often to be together, and I loved it. I loved them trying to find a way to be together in this world that wants them apart. And I don't remember how they meet. I don't remember how any of this started. Like I said, it's been out of Warriors. I've only read 13 books, and I'm gonna be rereading what I've read and read the rest of them soon. But yeah, so there's a lot of them, and Leafpool and Crowfeather, and I'm still bitter to this day that they didn't end up together, and they should be together, and so yeah. But even years later, when after all this, no matter what happens, they still love each other. They just realized that now isn't the time, and maybe someday, but they knew that that day may never come. And they always hold a special place in each other's hearts, no matter what. So yeah, I love their relationship, and I ship it so much. Just like I ship Dracula and Claude so much. Number 14 is Operetta, a character that knows how to get to a certain place. I chose this because Operetta spends a lot of time in the catacombs, and I know there are times when the group of schools are trying to find something or get somewhere, and then they end up in the catacombs because it always leads back to the catacombs, I swear. And then Operetta, I remember this one time where they were looking for something. I want to say it was from in Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love, but I might be wrong. But I'm like 99% sure. But yeah, and they were looking for something, and then Operetta's like, what do you ghouls need? Ghouls need, I can help, or something like that. And so she ends up helping them with what they need to get there, because she knows her way around the catacombs from spending so much time down there. And this third time I'm gonna show you this book. I did not plan this on purpose. It was a complete accident. But Bewitched and Bewitched and Oz duology. So yeah. I lost what I was gonna say. My mind just. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah. Okay. So the character I chose for this is the Glass Cat because on their journey I told you about, they go on this journey and they have no idea where they're going or anything, and then the Glass Cat, who actually reminds me a lot about the Cheshire Cat to be honest, always appears and then helps them with what they need to figure out how to get to the next place, and then he disappears again. Not the same way, he just disappears like the Cheshire Cat disappears, but he still does disappear. And the Glass Cat just always, and it's hard to explain, but the Glass Cat just, I like the Glass Cat, I do, but it can be infuriating because like the Glass Cat comes, gives them a little bit of information, and then bam, you're gone. And then Ziri it says in her point of view, you can feel her frustration and by the Glass Cat, but so yeah, but the Glass Cat made me think of this because yeah, definitely. Okay, next is number 15, Spectre Vondergeist, a book that features ghosts. So I could have went with two answers for this, to be honest. I actually end up changing the answer because I reused this once, and I know I used another book 3 times, another book 2 times, and two books 2 times. But I ended up going with a book I haven't used for this video yet, and this book I actually just finished the other day for my reread, and that is Hocus Pocus and the Yellow New sequel, because I think I only have two, actually I think they technically have 3 books. Yeah, I do, I have 3 books with ghosts, don't I? Because Harry Potter has ghosts. The Skin Jacket trilogy is only about ghosts, and this one has ghosts. Okay, so we all know the original Hocus Pocus, the only time you really see ghosts is at the very end. But in the sequel, that you see the ghosts more. Right after they bring back the witches, Binks, Emily, and Elizabeth all show up and in ghost form and help them. And then later on, when they go to find them again and ask for help, they find them again, and then you see them again at the end. So they're there 3 times: the beginning-ish, the middle, and then the end. They're there. So yeah, and we all love Binks, and I love seeing him again. And you get to see more of Emily too, and you get to meet Elizabeth, who is the 4th Sanderson, who was also a witch, but she was a good witch. And yeah. So, the ghosts may not be the main point of this, but they are in there, and they do help quite a bit. So yeah, that's fun. I love the reunion at the end with Binks and Danny. First time we saw each other in 25 years. But yeah, if you're a fan of Hocus Pocus, I definitely recommend picking this up. Definitely. Oh. Okay. Next is 16, Caddy Noir. I'm pretty sure, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing her last name right. A character who tries to find their true identity, which I chose this prompt because there's no surprise to why I chose the ghost prompt for Spectre, but for this prompt I chose for Caddy because, as we saw in Boo York, she kind of lost her sound, her voice, metaphorically, and actually literally too. We're gonna move past that little pun that I didn't even intend to make. But so that's why she wanted to go to Boo York so badly, to try to find her sound again, to find out, to remember why she loved singing in the first place, because she kind of lost it after she lost her music after she became famous, because it became only about the money, and she forgot her love for singing, so she went to find it again, and her music is her identity. So yeah, and for this I chose Greystripe from Warriors. He was only in the first arc. This is actually the second arc, but oh well. You meet him pretty soon. He's the first one that meets Firestar, or back then he was Rusty, and then became Firepaw, and then Fireheart, and then Firestar. It's all confusing. You'll understand if you've read this. But he meets meets Rusty and brings him to the clan. I think by accident, if I remember correctly, and because I think Rusty ended up following him or something. And yeah, so he ends up joining the clan, but Graystripe, he ends up going on, and Graystripe and Firestar become very close. They become best friends, and Graystripe even meets, there will be spoilers, meets Silverstream from a different clan who he falls in love with. And if I remember correctly, I think they have kittens. I might be wrong. For some reason, I want to say they have kittens too. But she ends up dying. I don't remember how she died. I just remember her dying, and it was very upsetting. Not the saddest book death. The saddest would be Udra, with probably Fred and Lupin as a close second. And then probably Silverstream, because her death is really upsetting. I'm trying to think of all the deaths that I can think of in books. And I think that's it. Like, for right now at least. But that's probably going to change soon. With all the books on my TBR, I'm sure I'm going to have more deaths that's going to upset me. But anyways, point is, Graystripe ends up losing himself. He loses the love of his life. His clan tried to keep him away from her in the first place. Then he loses her for good. So he ends up leaving the clan. Because he just couldn't do it anymore. He lost a part of himself, and he lost his identity, and he needed to find it away from the clan. And it was really sad to see him leave because I liked his character. But yeah, but I'm really excited to finally catch up on these because the last Super Edition, which was just made in 2020, which I own because I own all Warriors except for the 7th arc, and then the ones that haven't been made yet that are being released in 2021. But other than that, I own all of them, and there's the last Super Edition, which was just made in 2020, called Graystripe's Vow. So they're going to talk a little bit more about Graystripe, which makes me happy because I love Graystripe, and I'm going to be happy to read more about him since he left. So yeah, that's my answer for that. Next is we're almost done. It's 20, I'm on 17. Number 17, Skelita Calaveras. I like her character. She was on, what's the movie called? The movie's called Crap. I'm so stupid. How can I forget what this movie called? It's the one where they go to Scaris. Scaris City Price, that's what it's called. So obvious. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So, for this prompt, it's a strong female protagonist who believes in individuality. Because if you saw Scaris City Price, you can see that Skelita is a fashionista, like Claudine, like Jennifer, and she believes in individuality. Her and Jennifer try to convince Claudine to keep her book because it's her own unique voice and her art book or whatever. So yeah, for this I chose. I have no idea what the book is. There it is. Red from Once Upon a Time from Red's Untold Tale. Red is, I don't know if you, I really like that. I really like that. My first book that's like that. Okay, so, I don't know if any of you have ever seen the TV show Once Upon a Time, but I'm a huge fan, and they actually made 3 books. 2 of them I loved. Well, I don't know if I love them. They're not favorite books or anything, but they were good, and not as good as the TV show. But basically, they're just a little like what happens in the books and all of the books didn't happen in Once Upon a Time. The Red's Untold Tale and the Regina Rising both happened before Once Upon a Time, and then the Henry and Violets, which was alright. I mean, it wasn't bad or anything, and I finished it. It's not like I didn't have it, but it was alright. Not something I'm going to read again ever. But that one was based. It would have been based in between season 6 and 7, I want to say, because season 7 was the time jump when Henry was an adult, and then season 6 is when am I wrong? No, it would have been season 6 and 7, okay, but season 5 is when he met Violet, and then they started dating, first love and all, but they didn't end up together. And then yeah, because they were talking about their senior year and stuff, so it would have been between season 6 and 7. Okay, yeah, I was right. Alright, but yeah. So, Red is definitely someone who is she's different, but she doesn't know why she's different in her child's school. In Once Upon a Time, the TV show, you do find out why, because it's because she's Brad from Little Red Riding Hood, but instead of a big bad wolf, she is the big bad wolf. It's a curse that she didn't even know she had, because her grandmother tried to hide it from her to protect her. But yeah, but she's different, but she doesn't know why, and she doesn't let that stop her. She doesn't let her grandmother stop her from achieving her dreams and from going after what she truly wants. And I love it. It is amazing, and she's beautiful, and yeah, she's definitely a character that is very individual. And she's just definitely a strong female protagonist. I loved her on Once Upon a Time. I was really sad when she left. I don't know when they killed her off, but she didn't die. So I don't know why I said that. Okay. Next is we're gonna try to speed this up a little bit because I'm almost at an hour. I didn't want this video to be that long, but I got into a rant. Okay. Number 18 is Jackson Jekyll, a character who has two different personalities or duality that you can't decide which is better. Man, this is the fourth time I'm gonna be mentioning this book. Crap, I did not want to mention a book this much in this tag, but oh well. I went with Bewitched Mouse and Magic Below. I'm only holding one of them up because why not? I love them both so much, and honestly, maybe after I reread it, because I only read it once, because I'm going to be rereading it soon, maybe after I reread it, I will figure out which one I prefer. But as of right now, I love them both so much, and I don't have a preference. I just love them both. They're both amazing. And the reason why I chose this prompt is because Jackson Jekyll and Hold Tide. Do I really need an explanation? No, I do not. So moving on. But I just love these books so much. They both follow Ziri, and I love her relationship with her friends and with her love interest Brink, and it's just also amazing. And the storylines, the fights, the magic, the everything, it's just so amazing, and I love this so much, and I can't wait to reread it and tab it and remember why I loved it in the first place. So yeah. Okay. See. Number 19, Cyclops. Okay. This is cheating a little bit cheating, because Cyclops was technically only in the book, Monster High Girlfriend. He wasn't in the movie, which makes me sad, because I love Cyclops. He's a cinnamon roll. But yeah, so I'm cheating a little bit, but I don't care. This is my tag. A cinnamon roll you want to protect from the world. So, oh crap, this is the fifth time I'm mentioning this book. Oh my gosh. Okay, next time I need to pick my answers a little better. I went with Brink because he's a cinnamon roll, and I want to protect him from the world because he's just so sweet and innocent and kind and good-hearted, and he cares so much with everything, with every ounce of every muscle, every vein of his body. He cares, and he's always there for Ziri, even at the beginning when she was all hung up on his brother, and he was always there for Vashti as well and Tabitha, and he was just such a good friend and boyfriend, and he's just so amazing, and I love him, and he's too good for the world. He's too good for Oz. And that is a fact. But he's just amazing, and I love him. And next time I make a tag, I'm going to make sure I do not choose the same book 5 times. Because that was not on purpose, I swear. Okay, next is, this is the last one, right? Yeah, number 20, Headmistress Bloodgood, a wise character who looks after the main character. So, she's always helping the main characters. As you probably remember, like on Scare City Fright, she lets all of them go with Claudine, even though Claudine was the only one that was invited. And then with Fright's Camera Action, she lets all of them go to Transylvania with Dressy Laura, even though she was the only one invited. But yeah, so she's very understanding and helps them a lot. And I went with Dumbledore from Harry Potter. Yes, he can be annoying. I'm not saying he's not. He can be very annoying with his riddles and never telling it, and being very vague and never telling everyone the full story of anything. But he always helped Harry, and he just wanted Harry to learn everything on his own, I guess. Which I guess is some weird way I can understand that, even though it could be annoying. But yeah. So I had to choose Dumbledore. He was really the only right answer for this. So yeah. So I guess that's all for this tag. This is a long tag. I did not mean that. I'm so sorry. um, but yeah. So please like and so I tag. I forgot. I almost forgot to tag someone. Okay. So my tag for this is spicy miso ramen. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. So yeah. Uh, please. So I can't wait to see you do this video. I hope you enjoy it. Please like and subscribe and comment if you like any of these books. If you love Monster High like I do, and you can follow me on Bookstagram, Twitter, and Goodreads at Secret Books. And I'll talk to you guys later.